One moment, please. Let me read a little bit more. I want to be sure I'm telling you the right thing. Ah, there we go. Okay, so let's see. Uh, so, guys, look at this. This is called a bill hook. A bill hook. Okay. And if you look at this picture, you can see there's a man cutting the wood with a bill hook. So by hook or crook. So a shepherd's crook is this one. So the original meaning of this means you could take wood that you could reach with the crook, the shepherd's crook, or what you could cut with a bill hook, but nothing more than that. So it means you can't use a big saw to cut everything down. You have to use either a shepherd's crook to just pull it down, or to use a bill hook, which is a small cutting device for cutting small wood. So you're not taking the royal wood from the royal forest. Okay, so that's what by hook or crook means. The original meaning, I should say. Now, by hook or crook, it just means any way you can. By hook or crook means by any means, by any way that you're able to. Okay, so he got the money by hook or crook means he got the money in any way he was able to get the money. Okay, and yes, it's an idiom. That's an idiom. That's correct. Okay, yes. Can I learn English? Can I learn English? Can I learn English? No. Not with that attitude, you can't. I'm teaching a class right now. Please pay attention. Don't just interrupt my class. Okay? Okay, let's see. There was one other question. Contribution. Where was the other one? How to explain counterbalance. Well, that's easy. Balance means to keep things even. So counterbalance means when you had a scale with weights, right? You had a scale with weights and you wanted to measure something, you had a counterbalance that would counter the balance of the weight on this side, right? So to measure it, you would counterbalance it. Okay? Counter means to go against. All right? Okay. Are we all good with that? Okay, let's go on to another word. You're welcome, Shin. Let's look at the words. I'm going to teach you 3 words: sinister, sinister, dexterity, and ambidextrous. These words are related. These words are related. So, dexterity. Dexterity, the original meaning of dexterity. The word dex means on the right hand. The right hand. Dex means right. Okay. So why do we say if somebody has a lot of dexterity, it means they're very skilled at doing something, right? They're very agile. They can do things well, right? So the word dexterity originally comes from the word meaning with your right hand. Why? Because most people are right-handed. So you usually have more skill and ability with your right side. That's what dexterity means. Now, here's where it gets funny. Ambidextrous. Ambi comes from the Latin word meaning both sides. Both sides. So ambidextrous means your right hand and your left hand are equally good. Ambi, both like the right. Both like the right is what it means. Okay? But the word sinister is very interesting. What does sinister mean? Does anyone know what sinister means? Sinister means something evil. Now, here's where it gets funny. The original meaning of the word sinister means on the left side, because they actually used to believe that if you were left handed, it was evil, it was bad. Left handed people were evil. There you go. Siniestra is left in Italian. That's right. So yeah, the word sinister means evil, but that's because a long time ago they used to believe that left-handed people were bad. They were evil. They used to hit you. If you were left-handed and you were learning how to write, they used to hit you and force you to use your right hand. Yeah. So isn't that kind of funny? Sinister means on the left side. Dexterity means using your right side. Ambidextrous means both equal. Yeah. There you go. Funny but tragic, right? But you'll remember. That's why it's a good story. You'll remember. Okay. Hello, Rubina. Rubina, did you know there's a wonderful song with your name by a man named Joe Satriani? Go look and see if you can find Joe Satriani Rubina. He's a famous guitarist. He's a famous American guitarist, and he has a beautiful song called Rubina. You should go listen to it. Can I spell it again? Which one? Sinister? Sinister is this. Dexterity is this. And ambidextrous is this. Kruger, I'm not teaching about phrasal verbs today. I'm teaching about etymology today. Okay, so you're going to have to save your question for another time. I'm in the middle of teaching my class right now. Okay? Kruger and everybody here who's listening, sometimes I have a class where I invite people up and I answer any question you have about English or life or whatever. Okay. But sometimes I have material that I want to teach to you. Okay. Today, I am teaching about etymology, which means the history of where words come from and how they have changed over time. Okay, the history of where words come from and how they've changed over time. You can ask about this etymology if you want to know, where does this word come from? Where does this word come from? Where does this word come from? Thank you, Tulek. Yeah. Okay. Ask me where a word comes from and I'll tell you. Good night, Azmi. Thank you for joining. Make sure you follow and come back and see me again. Okay, let's do another one from let's see. How about the word plumber? What is a plumber? It's a job. That's right. It's a job, right? A plumber is the guy who fixes your toilet or your sink, right? So the word plumbum is Latin and it means lead. Plumbum in the Latin language means lead. Okay? So why is a plumber related to this? Because what are pipes made from? Pipes a long time ago used to be made with lead. Okay? So plumbers come from the word plumbum, which means lead, because they were the ones who worked with the lead pipes. Is it the same as terminology? No, etymology and terminology are not the same. Terminology means the study of terms, meaning words, but that's just learning language, that's just learning vocabulary. Etymology means the study of the history of words. That's right. There was a time when the pipes were made from plumbum, meaning lead, right? We don't use lead pipes anymore because we know it's bad for you. But that's where the word plumber comes from. It comes from the word lead. Where does etymology come from? Okay, well, there's a good question. Let's see. Etymology comes from the Latin word etymologia, which is Latin and Greek. Let me see here. Logia means the study or science of something, and etymon means the true sense or the original meaning. So etymon means the true or original meaning, and ology means the science of the true or original meaning. Does public come from Latin? Yes, it does. Yeah, as a matter of fact, here's another good one. What is a pub, everybody? What is a pub? Since you're asking about public, I'll tell you about pub. Yes, the B is silent in plumber now, but originally it was plumbum, which means lead. Lily, we are talking a little bit about affixes here today. What is pub? What is a pub? What is a pub, everyone? That's right, Doug. A pub is a place where you drink. The original word pub means public house because a pub was just somebody's house and they had some extra alcohol that they could sell to you and maybe some extra food they could sell to you. So the word pub originally was public house, a house that the public could go into and buy some food or alcohol. Yeah, now it means a bar. Now it's a private business, right? But originally it was just somebody's house and they had some extra alcohol that they could sell to make some money. Public house. Persona non grata can be used in English. Yes, exactly. It came from Latin, but there are many Latin words or Latin phrases that we still use, right? Like quid pro quo or persona non grata. Yeah. Uh, there are a bunch of Latin phrases that we still use. E pluribus unum. Okay. So, yeah, that's where the word public house comes from. What about the word restaurant? Since we're talking about pubs, let's talk about restaurants. What is a restaurant? A restaurant is a place where you have lunch or dinner, right? The word restaurant comes from the early French word and early Latin word meaning to restore. That's right. Because when you go to a restaurant, you eat some food and you restore your energy. That's what a restaurant is. It's a place where you go to restore your energy. Okay? Persona non grata. Persona means people or person. Non, not. Grata, welcome. So persona non grata means unwelcome people. If I say you are persona non grata, means I don't want you here. Okay? What about the word intelligent? Okay, since you asked, I will tell you. Intelligent comes from the Latin word intelligentum, which means, let's see, one moment. So intel comes from the Latin word inter, meaning between. And legare means to choose or pick or read, or to gather or collect. So let's see. One moment. So between meaning not in between, but to choose between things, right? So to have intelligence means that you choose or pick out the things that are good to learn. Okay, so inter means between, to choose between, and uh, the legence comes from the word legare, meaning to choose or pick out. So intelligence means to choose or pick the things you learn. Okay, to choose or pick the things you learn. Tulek, it's always good to see you, my friend. It's always good to see you. Bureaucracy, yes, bureaucracy comes from French. Bureau, one moment. Uh, Burea. That's right. I always forget. So bureau means desk. Okay. And krasi is the Greek word meaning power of. So the bureaucracy is the power of the desk. Bureaucracy is the power of the desk. Yeah. Can I explain the difference between murder and homicide? Rubina, it's not really off topic. Homicide means to kill someone. Homo means man, and side means to kill. So murder and homicide mean the same thing, but the word murder comes from German. The word homicide comes from Latin. So the word murder comes from German, Norse. Uh, Originally, the word murder means to rub away, or to harm something. Yeah. So even today, we still say they rubbed him out means that they erased him, like erasing someone from life. Right. So murder and homicide mean the same thing, but they have different roots. Murder comes from German, Norse, and homicide comes from Latin. You learn from Dexter. Uh, that's a good show. I like the show. Imran, I don't know what Imran means. It's your name. I don't think it's going to be in my dictionary because we're talking about English etymology. It's not an English word. If you give me an English word, I can help you. Where do pickup lines come from, Julio? Pickup lines come from men who are desperate and sometimes not very creative. Okay, did I miss any other words? Thank you, Andre. Equilibrium. Right. Equal meaning balanced, and librium. Uh, that's why. Equilibrium. Right. So equal means balanced, and Libra means a pair of scales, the scale of life, equilibrium. Okay. Any other words you guys want to know? What's the difference between to and into? Well, that's not really an etymology question, Kruger, but I'll help you. To means to go to something. I'm going to the store. Going into means inside of. Okay. Hello, Dimitri. Good to see you, my friend. You've been working at Joe's for your second month. I'm happy for you. It's good to hear from you. I haven't heard from you in a long time ago. Hygiene. Okay. Let's look at the word hygiene. Hygiene comes from the Greek word hygiena, hygiena techne, meaning a healthful art. So hygieus in Greek means healthy, or yeah, it means healthy. So the word hygiene comes from the Greek word meaning healthy. You're curious about the word heaven. Okay, let's look at the word heaven. Heaven comes from the Old English word Höfen, meaning home of God. Uh, there's also an early German word Hiben, or the word. Wait a minute. So, in Old English, the word Höfen means home of God, and before that, it meant the sky. There's another word in Old German and Old Norse, uh, Himmel or Himmel, which means the sky or heaven. That one doesn't have a very, very clear history. Not everybody is entirely sure where that one comes from. Thank you, Mahmoud. Thank you, Razia. And yes, equilibrium is Latin. That's right. What about the word cope? Let's look at the word cope. To cope. Cope comes from French. Let's see. One moment. Well, that's interesting. So the original word cope comes from a French word meaning to fight or to quarrel. to hit people, right? So when you cope with things, ooh, wow, this is interesting actually. In English, we have an idiom, roll with the punches. Roll with the punches. It means that sometimes in life hits you in the face. Sometimes bad things happen and life hits you in the face, but you have to keep going and roll with it. Just keep going, right? So roll with the punches means to keep going even if life is bad. To cope has a similar meaning, right? Means to deal with bad things or to deal with a difficult situation. But the original word cope comes from the word to fight or to be hit, because when you get hit, you have to cope with it. So there you go. That's a good one. See, that's why I like etymology. Sometimes you find some very interesting stories that you never thought about before. Okay, let's see. Innocence. Innocence comes from Latin innocentia, meaning blameless. So innocence comes from the Latin word that means without blame. They're without blame. They're innocent. Okay. The word innocent itself means not, and nocentum means to harm. So innocent means they did not harm anyone. Innocence means without blame. That's right. Democracy, bureaucracy, autocracy, all the ocracy words. That's a suffix, right? So those are added to the end, and they mean the rule of something, right? Or the control of something. Okay. What about the word environment? Environment comes from uh it comes from the French word environner, meaning to surround, the surroundings of something, to enclose, to encircle. So your environment is everything that surrounds you. Complement, that's an easy one. Complement, means to fill up, and plement comes from the Latin word plere, meaning to fill. So let's see. To fill up with completeness. So meaning with, and fill meaning complete, right? So complement means to fill something with completeness. So something that complements something else is something that you add to it, and it's like, oh, this feels better. This feels more complete. Okay. To make complete. Where does the word God come from? It comes from Old German, Gott, G-O-T, or G-O-T-T. And the Norse word, guo, G-O, or G-U-O. So it means, the original word, God, it might mean, the original meaning might be that which is invoked, which means they used to sacrifice things to the gods, right? So they would sacrifice animals or sacrifice food or things to the gods, right? And the gods would call on you to do that. So to invoke means to call, right? So the gods were the ones who would call you to give a sacrifice. That's where it comes from. Democracy. Okay. That's a Greek word. Uh, Demotic. Demos was the Greek word meaning the common people, the common people, and ocracy meaning rule. So democracy means ruled by the common people. Thank you, Razia. What is the difference between paradise and heaven? Well, sometimes they are synonyms, right? Some people view heaven as paradise or paradise as heaven. And you can use them metaphorically in that way. But the word paradise, it comes from the old French or Latin paradisus, which means the Garden of Eden, the Garden of Eden. So the word paradise, par means around, and D's means to form a wall. So it means like the original Garden of Eden was like a park, kind of, right? It was like a one area that was the most beautiful area. It wasn't everywhere. It was just this one place, the Garden of Eden. So paradise actually comes from the word originally meaning the Garden of Eden. Journal. Okay, that's a good one. Journal comes from the old French journal, meaning a day, a time, or the day's travel or work. So, really, it means that which takes place daily, the things that you did daily. That's where the word journal comes from. There's a originally before the French word, there's a Latin word, diurnalis, which means daily. Okay, so this word diurnalis. Let me make sure I'm spelling it right. Yeah, diurnalis is the Latin word that means daily or of the day. So diurnalis is the Latin, which led to the word journal, which is French, which means what you did that day for work or what you did that day. So that's what a journal is. You write about what you did that day. Okay, let's see. Does it also mean stupid? Does what mean stupid? Hello, Belen. Hello, Ahmed. Thank you, Ibrahim. Do you insert, swipe, or tap the card on the reader to pay? Well, that depends on what kind of card you have, Ramla. Sometimes you insert the card, which means to put it into the slot. Sometimes you swipe the card, which means you move it down that what's the word I'm looking for? The ridge on the side, right? And tap is now the new thing where you just have to tap your card and it pays, right? Canadian spell it with T, alphabet, US, what? Mahmoud, I'm not sure what you mean. Alphabet is an interesting word, though. The word alphabet. What does the word alphabet mean? Anyone? Alphabet? What's an alphabet? Amira, I am from the United States. American English. Alpha, beta. That's right. Alphabet. The first two letters of the Greek alphabet are alpha and beta. So alphabet means the letters that are used in your language, right? But the original word comes from Greek, alpha, beta. Tariq says, at least in the beginning, to know the origin of the words, or maybe it's Tariq. It is a kind of an advanced thing. This is somewhat of an advanced subject, but I want you to understand that sometimes it's easier to remember the word if you find out the original meaning because it's interesting, and if it's interesting, you won't forget it. So, memorizing is what you usually do to learn words, but memorizing is boring, and that's why you always forget. Okay. But if you learn the etymology of where the words come from, if the story is interesting, then you will remember. Okay. Well, no, Tariq. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm the teacher. I'll tell you what's necessary for you to learn or not. All right. Not every session I do is for beginners. I do lots of sessions for beginners where I answer very basic questions about simple tense and past tense and present tense. And I answer simple vocabulary questions. And we talk about common problems with English learning. This is not that. You're right. It's a little bit more advanced. Okay, Tarek? But you can do it. Don't worry. You can do it. Not my cup of tea. Do I use this English or this idiom in America too? Yeah, we do use it, but it is a British idiom. The word family. So maybe you guys are wondering, why do I teach this? I teach this subject, etymology, because the first language that I learned, I studied Latin for 1 year. And Latin is a very difficult language. That's why nobody speaks it anymore. But Latin, 60% of English words come from Latin. 60%. So if you learn about etymology and you know that 60% of English words come from Latin, 30% of English words come from French, about 20% come from German, a bunch of them come from Arabic, some come from Hindi, some come from Italian or Spanish, or some come from Japanese or Chinese. It's a useful way of learning vocabulary. Okay, it's a useful word of learning vocabulary. Useful way of learning vocabulary. Family comes from the Latin word familia, which means the family servants. It means everybody in your house. Okay, everybody in your house. So originally in the Latin word, it didn't just mean people related to your parents. The family in Latin meant everyone who lived in your house. That means the people like your mom and dad and the kids, but it also means the servants and the workers. That's the family, familia. Hello, Dr. Ann. Nostalgia, that's a French word. What comes from Latin before that? Let's see. One moment. So, do you guys know what homesickness means? Homesickness and nostalgia are kind of related, right? When you feel homesick, you wish you were back home. Nostalgia comes from the Latin words that means, or sorry, the Greek words. Greek words. Algos means pain or grief or distress, and nostos means homecoming. So, uh, nostalgia means you feel kind of a sadness in a way. Originally, it means you feel a sadness for your home, like you wish you could go back to that time or that place. That's what